Can you imagine being 7 years old
Oh, gosh.
and never having felt sunlight on your skin?
Wow.
That's the reality
Yeah,
that two young boys in Milwaukee faced.
right.
They were trapped in a house of horrors,
Oh, my goodness.
hidden in plain sight.
Wow.
And this case,
Yeah.
much like what we saw with the Turpin family,
Right.
reminds us that sometimes
Yeah.
the most unimaginable cruelty can happen
Yeah.
just behind our neighbor's door.
Yeah, absolutely.
So today, we are diving deep into the Milwaukee House of Horrors case.
Okay.
We're going to be using firsthand accounts and court documents
Interesting.
to peel back the layers of this disturbing story.
I'm ready.
And you'll get a look into the lives of the victims,
Yeah.
the perpetrators, and
Yeah.
the community
Right.
that was left reeling in the wake of this discovery.
Wow.
Our journey starts on July 13th, 2025,
Okay.
with a chilling 911 call.
Oh,
Two young boys, ages 7 and 9,
okay.
were seen wandering down South 71st Street, naked,
Oh, gosh.
covered in filth,
Ah.
and looking utterly lost and bewildered.
Wow.
The scene was so disturbing
Yeah.
that even seasoned officers were shaken to their core.
Really?
So to give you a sense of the initial shock,
Okay.
let's listen to a clip of that 911 call
Okay.
and the responding officer's reaction.
Got it.
South 71st Street. Sounds like some of the neighbors be saying that the children might be in danger. We're going to stage for a second here.
Wow.
It's a dispatch call. Milwaukee Fire's Acting Assistant Chief, Skylar Below.
Okay.
This one just sounded, it just sounded different.
Yeah, it sounds like something's really wrong.
That feeling of something being different,
Yeah.
something deeply wrong,
Right.
immediately gripped the first responders.
I can imagine.
When they arrived,
Yeah.
they found Katie Cook,
Okay.
the boy's mother,
Right.
in a state of panic.
Mm-hmm.
And her attempts to explain the boy's condition were,
Yeah.
to put it mildly,
Yeah.
unconvincing.
Wow.
The house itself reeked of neglect.
Oh.
And what the officers found inside
Yeah.
was far worse than they could have imagined.
Wow, this is giving me chill.
It's really awful.
Yeah.
This case is a chilling example
Yeah.
of how severe child neglect
Mm-hmm.
can go unnoticed
Right.
for years.
Yeah.
It often happens behind closed doors,
Right.
hidden from the eyes of the community.
Absolutely.
And what makes this case so striking
Yeah.
is how the children were completely isolated
Oh,
from the outside world.
gosh.
And that isolation was confirmed by several neighbors.
Oh, really?
5 of them described the boys as cavemen.
Cavemen.
Children seemingly unfamiliar with the most basic aspects of life
Right.
outside their home.
Wow.
One neighbor even said
Ah.
they hadn't seen the children outside the house
Oh, my God.
for 3 years.
3 years.
But the true horror
Yeah.
was revealed
Mm-hmm.
when officers stepped inside the home.
Oh, no.
The court documents paint a truly disturbing picture.
Oh.
The children's room had feces smeared all over the walls.
Ugh.
There was also a latch to lock the door from the outside of the kids' room.
Oh, my gosh. That's awful.
It's really hard to hear the
Yeah.
psychological impact
Yeah.
of prolonged isolation
Right.
and deprivation on a child's development
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely devastating.
It really is.
We've seen this in cases like Jeannie,
Oh, right. Yeah.
the feral child,
Yeah.
who was tragically subjected to similar abuse and neglect.
Right.
Jeannie's case showed us how critical early childhood experiences are
Yeah.
for language,
Mm-hmm.
social skills,
Mhm.
and overall development.
Right.
These boys,
Yeah.
locked away from the world,
Right.
were deprived of these essential experiences
Yeah.
at a time when their brains were most adaptable
Right.
and in need of stimulation.
Absolutely.
Adding another layer of complexity to this story
Okay.
is Katie's boyfriend, Joel Mankey.
Okay.
He lived in that house
He did.
and, by his own admission, knew about the horrific conditions
Oh.
those boys were enduring.
Wow.
His defense.
Yeah. What was it?
He chose to pick his battles with Katie.
Pick his battles while those kids were suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
This raises a serious question
Yeah.
about the moral and legal responsibility
Right.
of adults who are aware of child abuse
Mm-hmm.
but choose to stay silent.
Awful.
Joel's attempt to justify his inaction
Right.
is simply unacceptable.
Totally.
By turning a blind eye to the suffering of these children,
Yeah.
he became complicit in the abuse.
He really did.
It becomes even more disturbing.
Okay.
And you contrast the reality of the boys' lives
Right.
with the image that Katie was projecting to the world.
Okay.
She claimed she was homeschooling them,
She did.
even boasting about using Hooked on Phonics.
Wow.
Yet the boys were severely developmentally delayed.
Oh, my.
At 7 and 9 years old.
Mm.
They couldn't speak properly.
Really?
Weren't potty trained. And displayed behaviors consistent with children raised in absolute isolation.
Gosh.
This really highlights the crucial importance
Yeah.
of those critical periods
Right.
in child development,
Yeah.
particularly for things like language and social skills.
Yeah.
There's extensive research on brain plasticity
There is.
that shows while children are incredibly resilient,
Yeah.
early intervention is absolutely vital
Right.
to minimize the long-term effects of neglect like this.
Absolutely.
And as if this story wasn't already complex enough,
Oh, gosh.
we uncovered
Yeah.
that Katie had a rather extensive criminal past.
Oh, really?
She had several run-ins with the law,
Oh, wow.
including charges related to theft,
Okay.
drugs,
Yeah.
and even a hit-and-run incident.
Wow, okay.
This adds another layer of complexity to the case
Yeah.
and raises some serious questions
Right.
about her overall stability
Uh-huh.
and ability to parent.
Right.
The news of this horrific discovery
Yeah. Sent shockwaves through the community.
I bet.
Let's hear directly from some of those neighbors and community members
Okay,
who were grappling with the news.
got it.
Neighbors told me they didn't even know people lived in this White House behind me because they never saw people go in or out until last Thursday when 7 and 9-year-old brothers jumped through a shattered window in the rear of the home. That's when the neighbors called 911 as the boys stumbled naked through the streets.
Oh, gosh.
They had never been outside before. If they have been, it's been a very long time.
Oh, wow.
This case is a stark reminder
Yeah.
that child abuse can occur anywhere,
Right.
even in seemingly normal neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
It also highlights the challenges we
Yeah.
face in identifying and addressing these hidden cases,
Yeah.
particularly when perpetrators create a facade of normalcy
Hmm.
to conceal their horrific actions.
Right.
And Katie was a master
Wow.
at constructing that facade.
Okay.
While her sons languished in squalor, she
Yeah.
was busy crafting a picture-perfect family life. Oh, God.
Online,
Online.
she shared glossy photos
It did.
portraying a happy family,
Right.
completely masking the grim reality
Yeah.
her sons were enduring.
Wow.
That dissonance between her online persona
All right.
and the truth
Yeah,
is truly chilling.
it really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to make things even more heartbreaking,
Oh, no.
Katie's estranged brother
Yeah.
gave an emotional testimony
He did.
where he expressed his anger and frustration,
Right.
questioning why Joel didn't intervene
Of course.
and how the family could have been so unaware of the situation.
Yeah, I understand.
This brings up a crucial point
Okay.
about the role of community awareness
Yeah.
and intervention in cases of child abuse.
Right.
This is a call to action for all of us
It is.
to be vigilant
Uh-huh.
and report any suspicions.
Yes.
We have to the authorities.
I do.
We have a collective responsibility to protect vulnerable children.
Absolutely.
The boy's uncle also spoke out,
I do.
emphasizing the urgent need for around-the-clock care and support
Mm-hmm.
to help these boys recover from the trauma they've experienced.
Right.
The long-term consequences of such severe neglect
Yeah.
can be incredibly profound,
It can.
impacting both their physical and psychological well-being.
Right.
However,
Yeah.
with the right intervention,
Mm-hmm.
therapy, and support,
Yeah.
these children can begin the challenging
Right.
but hopeful
Yeah.
journey of healing.
I hope so.
This case is a truly tragic illustration
Yeah.
of the devastating effects
Mhm.
of child abuse
Right.
and neglect.
Right.
The details are difficult to hear,
They are.
and the questions they raise
Yeah.
are deeply unsettling.
They are.
We'll continue exploring this complex and heartbreaking story
Okay.
in part 2 of our deep dive.
I'm ready.
We'll delve deeper into the investigation,
Okay.
the legal proceedings,
Mm-hmm.
and the road to recovery that lies ahead
Yeah.
for these two young boys. If you're finding this deep dive as compelling as we are,
Mm-hmm.
be sure to subscribe to the show
Right.
to make sure you don't miss part 2.
Okay.
We're committed to bringing you in-depth analysis and understanding
Yeah.
of stories that often get overlooked.
Awesome. Welcome back to our deep dive
Thanks for having me back.
into the Milwaukee House of Horrors case, as
Yeah.
we learned in part 1.
Right.
This case is a harrowing reminder
Yeah, it really
of the hidden horrors
Mhm.
that can occur even in seemingly ordinary homes.
Absolutely.
We left off discussing the shocking discovery of those two young boys
Right.
and the unimaginable conditions they were forced to live in.
Yeah.
We also touched upon the roles of their mother, Katie Koch,
Right.
and her boyfriend Joel Mankey.
Yeah.
Yes, and now we need to delve deeper into the legal proceedings
Okay.
that unfolded after the boys were rescued and really examine the gravity of the charges that both Katie and Joel face.
Okay. I understand both Katie and Joel were arrested
They were...
and ultimately charged with multiple counts of child neglect
Yeah.
and false imprisonment.
Right.
Can you walk us through what that looked like in the courtroom?
Certainly,
Okay.
Katie, as the mother,
Right.
faced 4 felony counts and 2 misdemeanors.
Wow.
Her cash bail was set at a staggering $30,000,
$30,000.
an amount she reportedly couldn't afford.
Wow. And what about Joel?
Yes.
Did he face similar charges?
Joel was also charged with 4 felonies,
Okay.
although his bail was set considerably lower at $6,500.
Okay, so much lower.
Yeah. This discrepancy in bail amounts sparked a lot of outrage
Rightfully so.
in the community.
Yeah.
Many people felt that Joel, as an adult living in the home and fully aware of this situation,
Right.
should have been held more accountable for his inaction.
I agree. I can understand why people would be upset.
Right.
Choosing to pick his battles, as he put it,
Yeah.
while those boys suffered is just unconscionable.
It really is.
What were the potential consequences for Katie and Joel if they were convicted?
The potential penalties for these charges were quite severe.
Right.
If convicted on all felony counts,
Yeah.
Katie faced up to 42 years in prison
42 years.
and fines totaling $120,000.
Wow.
Additionally, the misdemeanor charges carried penalties of up to 18 months,
And
$20,000 in fines.
wow, those are very serious consequences.
Yeah.
And did Joel face the same potential penalties?
Yes, Joel faced the same potential penalties as Katie
Oh,
for the felony charges,
right.
up to 42 years and $120,000 in fines.
Yeah.
However, his case really highlights a gray area,
Yeah.
both legally and ethically.
Mm-hmm.
How do we as a society
Right.
punish someone who didn't actively participate in the abuse,
Yeah.
but was fully aware of it
Right.
and complicit through their silence?
That's a tough question.
It is.
It makes me think about the broader issue
Yeah.
of bystander responsibility
Right.
and the role we all play
Mm-hmm.
in reporting suspected abuse. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this case absolutely underscores the critical need
Okay.
for greater awareness and education
Right.
surrounding child abuse and neglect.
Yeah.
It's imperative that we as a society
Right.
empower individuals to feel confident
Mm-hmm.
in speaking up and intervening when they suspect something is wrong.
I agree. You're right.
Yeah,
Silence only serves to protect abusers.
it does.
Reporting suspected abuse
Right.
can quite literally be a lifesaver for a child.
It really can.
And speaking of things that are hard to reconcile,
Okay.
I keep thinking back to those glossy photos Katie shared online.
Those photos, the ones that projected an image
Yeah.
of a happy, loving family.
Exactly. Those photos juxtaposed with a horrifying reality
Right.
those boys were living in
Yeah.
reveal a very disturbing level of deception
It does.
on Katie's part.
Yeah. It's as if she was trying to create a parallel reality
Yeah.
where her sons weren't suffering.
Right.
It makes you wonder about her motivation.
Maybe she was trying to convince herself that everything was okay.
Right.
Trying to maintain some semblance of control
Yeah.
while her life was clearly spiraling out of control.
It's possible.
Or maybe it was a way of suppressing her own guilt,
It's possible.
whatever the reason.
Yeah,
It definitely adds another layer of complexity
it does.
to her character
Right.
and the motivations behind her actions.
Yeah.
And thinking about motivations,
Okay.
I want to circle back to the statements made by Katie's estranged brother
Right.
and the boy's uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Both expressed such deep concern for the boys
They did.
and frustration at the situation.
Right.
What did you take away from their words?
The brother's anger towards Joel,
Yeah.
questioning why he didn't step in,
Mhm.
was particularly poignant.
Yeah,
You could hear the raw emotion in his voice.
I did too.
He clearly feels Joel completely failed in his duty
Yeah.
to protect those vulnerable children.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah.
And the uncle's plea for help, emphasizing the need for constant care for the boys,
Right.
was equally heartbreaking.
It was.
It highlights the immense challenges these boys will face in their recovery.
Absolutely. Their journey toward healing will be long and difficult,
Right.
requiring extensive therapy and ongoing support.
They've been robbed of their childhood,
They have.
their innocence,
Yeah.
everything. It's just tragic.
It is.
But their resilience in the face of such adversity
Yeah.
is incredibly remarkable.
It really is. They are survivors.
They are.
And while their story is incredibly difficult to hear,
It is.
it can also serve as a catalyst for change.
I hope so. You're right. It emphasizes the desperate need
Yeah.
for increased awareness, proactive intervention,
Right.
and robust support systems for victims of child abuse.
Yes.
It reminds us that this can happen anywhere,
It can.
to anyone,
Right.
and that we all have a responsibility to do something to stop it.
I completely agree. And that's what we'll continue to explore
Okay.
in part 3 of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll examine the long-term consequences of this type of neglect,
Okay.
the resources available to victims, and the steps we can all take
Yeah.
to create a world where children are safe from these kinds of horrors.
I'm ready for part 3. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We've been examining the harrowing story,
Okay.
the Milwaukee House of Horrors, a case that's not only shaken a community,
It really has.
but forced us to confront the dark realities of child abuse.
Absolutely. In this final part,
Yeah?
we're going to shift our focus to the aftermath of this tragedy.
Okay.
What does the road to recovery look like
Right.
for these young boys?
Yeah.
And how can we as a society
Right.
do better to prevent such horrors
Yeah.
from happening again?
It's hard to even begin to imagine the depth of the trauma
I know.
these children have endured.
Right.
Years of isolation,
Yeah.
deprivation, and abuse.
Yeah.
It's bound to leave deep scars.
Absolutely. The effects of this kind of profound neglect
Yeah.
manifest in so many ways.
Right.
Physically, emotionally, and
Right.
developmentally.
Of course.
We know that the boys were significantly delayed
Right.
in their language development
Yeah.
and social skills.
Right.
How do we even begin to address those kinds of setbacks?
That's what I keep wondering.
Yeah.
How do they even start to catch up
Right.
after missing out on so many crucial
Yeah.
developmental milestones?
Well, those delays, unfortunately, can create a ripple effect,
Right.
impacting their ability to learn, form relationships, and navigate the world in a healthy way. And then there's the physical impact to consider.
Of course.
Living in those conditions for so long, it's bound to have taken a toll on their health.
It's heartbreaking to think about all the things they've missed.
It is,
The simple joys of childhood.
right?
Playing outside,
Yeah.
learning,
hmm
making friends. It was all stolen from them.
Their story is a stark reminder
Yeah.
of why early intervention is so critical.
Right.
It also highlights the importance of having a strong support system in place
Yeah.
to help victims of abuse heal and thrive.
What kind of resources are available
Well,
to help children like these boys
yeah.
begin to rebuild their lives?
There are organizations and professionals
Okay.
who dedicate their lives to helping children who've experienced trauma.
That's good.
Therapy, both individual and group,
Mm-hmm.
can be essential for addressing the emotional and psychological wounds.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about their education?
Yeah.
They're so far behind their peers.
There are specialized educational programs
Okay.
specifically designed for children
Right.
with developmental delays
Okay.
that can be incredibly beneficial.
Yeah.
These programs focus on patience, understanding,
Yeah.
and individualized attention.
It sounds like an incredibly long,
But it is.
challenging road ahead.
Yeah.
But there is hope for them, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Children are remarkably resilient.
That's good to hear.
With the right support,
Mm,
with love and care,
yeah.
they can overcome even the most horrific experiences
Yeah.
and go on to build bright futures.
That's really reassuring to hear.
Good.
This case is a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that child abuse is a societal problem
It is.
that demands our attention.
We have to pay attention.
We can't turn a blind eye.
We can.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
We all share a responsibility
we do.
to be vigilant, to recognize the signs of abuse,
Right.
and to speak up if we suspect something is wrong.
Absolutely.
If we've learned anything from this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's that silence is never the answer.
Never.
Reporting suspected abuse
Right.
can literally mean the difference between a child suffering in silence
It can.
and getting the help they so desperately need.
We have to be the voice for those who can't
Okay.
speak for themselves.
And we can all do our part,
We can.
even in small ways.
Right.
Like
Even in small ways.
supporting organizations that work with abused children,
Yeah.
educating ourselves about the signs of abuse, advocating for stronger child protection policies.
Right.
Those are all steps in the right direction.
Every child deserves to grow up
They do.
in a safe and nurturing environment.
They do.
It's our collective responsibility to create that world.
Thank you for joining us for this in-depth look
Of course.
at the Milwaukee House of Horrors case.
Absolutely.
It's a story that's challenged us,
It has.
heartbroken us,
It has.
and ultimately, we hope inspired us to take action.
Me too.
If you suspect a child is being abused,
Yeah.
please don't hesitate to contact the National Child Abuse Hotline
Please do.
at 1-800-4A-CHILD.
It's so important.
You could be saving a life.
Absolutely.
And be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive
Yeah.
for more explorations of these complex
Right.
and often overlooked stories. We're dedicated to bringing you thought-provoking content
Yes.
that makes you think differently, challenges assumptions,
Right.
and empowers you to make a difference.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.